Today in the crypto space, we see the market deep in the red. Bitcoin down approximately 7.5% and Ethereum down approximately 6%. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much following these heavyweights to the downside. But the question is, should we be buying the dip or do we expect a continuation down? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to talk about Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about the heavyweight of all altcoins, and that is Ethereum. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of this market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Better yet, you can hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description. And of course, guys, join that Discord group. It's a great community, lots of good alpha throughout the day, trade setups, fundamentals, all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's happening here in the market. Bitcoin coming down, of course, we know that. Now we're getting a bit of a hesitation after this dip, a bit of a consolidation. Nothing too huge here, guys, because it could be just a consolidation, a bear flag for continuation down. So we got to be very careful. If you're going to get into long positions right now based on this hesitation, you got to be very, very in tune with your risk to reward, right? You got to be in tune with the fact that you got to protect that capital if we could continue coming down. Bitcoin, Ethereum, of course, Ethereum is the project that I want to talk about today. We don't talk about Ethereum enough here on the channel. Of course, it is an altcoin. A lot of people don't want to consider it an altcoin. And in fact, it does deserve its own category as being the largest altcoin out there. But nonetheless, guys, we saw that Ethereum did dip down with Bitcoin's lead, of course. However, the reaction to the upside, as can be seen, is a little bit more aggressive. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum and its own relationship tonight at 7:30 Eastern. We are going live, and we will talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we'll compare them to see which one is holding more strength. But right now, we can see just by looking at this little chart that Ethereum is holding up pretty good against Bitcoin. Okay, so Binance consolidating, XRP consolidating, a lot of these altcoins are basically consolidating right now, getting a bit of a reaction after this dip, and again, maybe giving some individuals a bit of a false hope that this is the bottom on these alts. We need a little bit more of a confirmation to actually start building a position with some conviction. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get into lower time frames and try to snipe a quick rally up, but that means you got to get in and you got to get out really, really quickly with a very tight stop loss and prepare for potential continuation, guys. It's too early to tell that we're going to get a complete reversal here, but a bit of relief to the upside is very possible, right? So even Ethereum Classic is doing pretty good considering the dip. It got a nice recovery, a nice V recovery right now, and you can see that in the little chart. H-bar back to the bottom of the range, approximately 2%. Guys, it's this is the name of the game, right? This is the name of the game. Although it is green, it does look like it's currently testing previous lows. It wouldn't be a bad time to dabble into that project, especially if it holds up on that level of horizontal. Horizontal supports are great, guys. Keep an eye out, put a lot of emphasis on horizontal supports, and expect that when the momentum hits those horizontal supports, we could possibly get a bit of a reaction, okay, here. So that we do see a lot of these altcoins come down. Caspa, actually Caspa considering it didn't really dip that much after the fact, right? We're still kind of grinding sideways right now. It's at a good level of support potentially, and that is why we're getting a bit of a reaction, a bit of bullish support at this level. May cause Caspa to either continue going sideways for a little bit more, or maybe get a bit of a bounce where we see some bears get back in and then push the price even further. But right now, it's all about Ethereum. So we'll talk about Caspa tonight if need be, or if anything, we can make a dedicated video on any of these projects, guys, on the Discord, there's a section where you can do requests. Guys, I do deep dives every Sunday where I basically get into the project and take a look at what the project's all about. The last one I did was on where is it? Microvision chain. Go check that one out if you're interested in Microvision or any other project that I do deep dives on. I did one on Octaspace. I did one on a couple. Go check it out. There's a few out there. And if you are interested in any project and you want me to do a deep dive on it, there's a section on the Discord where you can make requests, and it's a great time and opportunity to get fundamentally bullish on some of these altcoins, especially the new ones that don't have any price action. We have to find basis. The basis is fundamentals, okay? So the thesis has to be based on fundamentals. So in this case, deep dives are important. So let's continue here. We got a nice reaction right here on Injective, a nice reaction, 6.8% to the upside. That's pretty good. That's looking bullish considering the fact. We know that Injective at the end of the day is a very high prospect for the bull run, a good reactor. It could be a good reactor. But keep in mind, it's $650 million market cap. It's not it's not very small. So it could still do very well, no doubt. It could reach $2-3 billion, no doubt. Like if we keep on going up, and you look at some of the largest altcoins, you're looking at $2 billion, and we are in a bear market. So let's say they double or something like that, we can see Injective reach that level for sure. But again, guys, if you want that volatility, you're gonna have to go lower down the list. Okay, so let's continue here. Sui bottoming out, it's making the top 100, of course. Casper Network still grinding to the downside. What else do we have? IOTA, Mina Protocol, a lot of these altcoins. All right, guys, let's get it right into the charts. Guys, I know you want to talk about price action. Let's do it. Let's do it. Today's all about Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum, but I want to make sure that we focus on Bitcoin to see what exactly is happening with Bitcoin. Are we in a distribution? Are we in a wake-off distribution? Are we potentially slowly going to roll over, where we see this price finally capitulate to the downside? Guys, this is the weekly chart. Today, I was looking at the weekly and I was like, could it be that we should be paying attention to the weekly, given the fact that we did not fully reset the RSI to overbought conditions? Guys, I rarely trade the weekly, but I figured let's begin by looking at the weekly. Let's do that. Now, the weekly time frame right now didn't show us the fact that we got reset, but overall, we double topped and we are creating a bearish divergence, slightly higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI, and we're finally breaking down. So for me, and the MACD is looking quite bearish here on the weekly, which means that it's very likely that we see the price and the momentum at least, come back down to the bottom of the range, hitting that 30% mark. It doesn't have to break through because it didn't break through here. So let's say it doesn't break through and we do finally get that level. It could be very possible that we hit that $20,000 mark based on the weekly time frame. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on it. Obviously, we're entering the chop zone right now on the 50% mark on the weekly. And what does that represent on the daily? On the daily, you see that we are currently now, after a couple of days here of this bearish move to the downside, we are in oversold conditions, pretty much extreme, okay, on the daily. Look at this. We are in the extreme conditions of oversold territory. Now, the question is, are we going to start buying in? Are we going to start going long? Are we going to start DCAing? Guys, it's not a bad scenario. I'm saying it's a bit risky for sure because we are getting no confirmations other than hitting this good level of support right here. The closer you could get your entries to about 25,300, it is actually the best zone. We have a double bottom, horizontal level of support. We did get a reaction there. We are overbought. What we really want to see now is divergence. Okay, if you really want to mitigate your risk, control your risk, get into this in a bullish scenario with a bit of conviction that maybe it is the bottom, you got to wait for bullish divergence, ideally on the daily, right? But that's going to take time. You want 2 hits of the RSI, 2 drives of the RSI, like we did here. This was bearish divergence. Now, can we get 2 drives of the RSI? It's already down. Let's go back up, come back down, and get a double bottom, and then we'll see how that double bottom plays out with the price action. If we see any bullish divergence there on the daily, it could be that we're ready for another rally up. Now, is it possible that we sweep the highs? Of course, we could come back up to about 32,700. No problem at all based on the 4-hour and the daily time frames, we could do that. We can go sideways here for the next little while. And really what I'm looking for is Bitcoin to go sideways, because altcoins are going to do well during that time. We're going to get a bit of confidence in Bitcoin's stability, and then we're going to be looking for other altcoins to go and basically rally up. So right now, based on the daily, Bitcoin is primed. Bitcoin is in that zone to potentially start accumulating. Let's get in the 4 hour to see if we find a little bit more here. Guys, of course, it's in very oversold conditions, and the MACD right now is looking for, maybe a cross, pale histogram bars. We didn't get the cross just yet, but it might be slowing down. Maybe this is done. Maybe the impulse to the downside on the 4 hour time frame is absolutely done. So if you're going to get into a long position, you got to be very careful here on the 4 hour. I don't like getting into lower time frames. This is the time frame that I like trading. And again, we are hitting that volume gap, the top of the volume gap, and we got a quick reaction to the upside. If we continue coming down, you might want to consider maybe getting into that entry, especially if you start getting double bottoms, inverse head and shoulders, cup and handle formations, anything that is showing us that we have potentially hit a pivot point. We are still in a scenario where we are catching falling knives. Right? It's still coming down. There's no indication yet that we are completely done. Yes, we are in oversold conditions, sure, but that's it. There's no other level of confluence other than this previous bottom and the horizontal support. If that's enough for you, right, and you think that the bears are done, start dabbling in, maybe put yourself in 10, 20, 30% at a time, and that way over time you build a position for a continuation or a bit of relief to the upside. Guys, it's due for a relief. Like, we came down pretty hard and we're oversold, no doubt, but nonetheless it's a bit risky still. We're not getting any confirmations. All right, guys, let's get into Ethereum. Why not? Let's get right into Ethereum. Let's see what Ethereum has to offer us today. Ethereum of course fell down with Bitcoin, but you can see that as we speak, that reaction that it had at that horizontal, again, very close to this horizontal level of support. You can see that people front running this weak spot. And of course, sometimes I get into, I try to be very modest. I try to, really identify the weak zone. But really, if you look at it, the weak zone actually begun as this started to indent, right? Started to indent. We got into oversold conditions here on the RSI on the 4 hour. Let's begin by looking at the daily. Let's quickly get into the daily and see what's happening. So very oversold as well. MACD is looking bearish, at the end of the day, red histogram bars, EMA's facing down. No indication that these bears are done just yet. Again, very similar to Bitcoin. You can look at the momentum, it's oversold. You can look at the fact that we've already gotten close to the horizontal. We didn't touch it, so that's not bad. But really, personally, I feel, and remember this weakness, this weak spot that we identified, okay, fell right through, and now it's coming right back to it, almost like it needs to respect it. Right? So let's feel, and that happens a lot. It happens a lot where we fall through, a lot of liquidations happen, and then the true value comes right back up and hits that zone. So let's see what happens here, because at the end of the day, if we do come down to this zone, we might get an opportunity to accumulate here. Now, if we do zoom out, okay, we got into oversold, we zoom out here on the daily, and the fact that we are oversold right now means that we could be expecting a bottom very soon. And if you look at where we are, we're going to be potentially holding this level of support of this diagonal, right? I don't really trade diagonals too much. I keep them on the charts just to identify trend, structure, all that good stuff. But you can see that we are currently in the structure, right? We created higher highs, higher lows, right? In this ascending wedge, okay? This ascending wedge, technically speaking, should break down bearish. This is a bearish pennant right here. This flag is saying, look, we're retracing before we continue down. Now that's the magic right there, right? If it doesn't continue down and we continue going up and we actually break to the upside with a measured move to the upside, we could make some hit some good targets to the upside. Right now, my bias, honestly, is to the upside in the sense that it needs to happen. Right? Ethereum and altcoins need to catch up to Bitcoin. Now, nothing has to happen. It would be nice for it to happen, and it would be, essential for the market for it to happen, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen. So this is the case here. Now, are we going to actually fulfill the destiny of this ascending wedge and actually break down? And if it does, guys, altcoins will get destroyed. It's very clear that they will, because as Ethereum is an indicator to altcoins most of the time, we understand it follows Ethereum's lead. And if it does come down, guys, we're going to see a big fire sale on altcoins, but one step at a time. What we really want to do is look at this horizontal. This horizontal right now is very confluent with this diagonal, and we do see that if we do come down here, it's very possible that we do get some support and potentially get a bounce. Upon this bounce, this is probably the most important bounce ever, because if we create a lower high here on the bounce off of this diagonal and horizontal, okay, get that bounce and we get rejected, creating a lower high, guys, it is an indication that potentially we're rolling over. Okay, we're going to roll over and come down and break to lower levels. And if that happens, guys, again, you got to be prepared. Now, if we do come up to the top of the range and test this high, okay, this level, this volume gap, this zone, it starts to make me believe that maybe it's possible that we see Ethereum take that percentage, that probability to the upside, because this is all a game of probability, that we pump to the upside and break out bullish, okay? Personally, I'm 50-50. I don't mind, or even so, I don't think that it's out of the cards to see this thing sweep the lows again and attempt a bearish breakdown. If it could be a failed breakdown. It could come down and double bottom, could come down, reach that 786, 886 retracement right around here and get some support. Look at this horizontal that we have here. Okay, we have another level right around here, a nice volume gap ready to go to act as support. Remember what I say, top and bottom of the volume gap should be considered for DCA opportunities. Now let's step back a second and look at the momentum. The momentum on the RSI right now is completely oversold. That's a great indication that the bears eventually are going to get exhausted here. This takes so much work for the bears to keep on driving lower at this level. So let's see what happens here. We even got a reaction. It looks like algorithmic reaction. A lot of buy orders on exchanges triggered. Front run that entry at about 1500, guys, and it did happen. It got a nice bounce to the upside. Great. Now, a continuation down is very possible, but again, it's not in the cards to continue shorting here, right? Especially on the daily. The daily is completely oversold. I wouldn't be shorting here in any fresh shorts. I would be waiting for a bounce to the upside, if anything, and then make your conviction on whether you're going to go short or not, and for a continuation to the downside, given that this is a bear flag. Okay, it is. Now, if we get into the 4-hour, okay, again, very oversold, lots of volume to the downside, so it had some conviction there. The market participants wanted this to come down. Think about it as a vote. Many market participants voted. A lot of them voted to bring this down, so it happened. MACD right now is very similar to Bitcoin, where it's getting pale pink histogram bars and potentially looking for that EMA cross. You know, it is a lagging indicator, so be careful there. But the RSI right now is extremely oversold with no indication of bullish divergence, neither on the 4-hour or the daily. Okay, so we got to be careful here. Again, we're trying to catch falling knives really, really early. We just got this pump. I think it's very important now for us to be very careful with our capital, because it could be a scenario where a lot of people start to get wrecked. You don't want to get in heavy. You want to get in modest. You want to be calculated and reserved, and you want to be, at the end of the day, you want to be prepared for further price action. What could happen? Obviously, there's always three scenarios. We could dip further, we could go sideways, or we can get a bounce to the upside. Which one do you weigh out more? It's all about probability, and right now my opinion is a little bit more to the downside before I get convicted. It may not happen, but because I'm not getting indications, no break of structure just yet, no bullish divergence, no horizontals barely touched. Even now, diagonal based on Ethereum barely didn't even touch. So you know what? Let's take it easy here, guys. We have a lot of time. It is Friday. We're leading into the weekend, which means those order books get thin. The retail market traders are it's just very, very difficult, and the market is very volatile. What's going to happen here, guys? Who knows? Let Monday roll around, and even Mondays, be careful with Mondays. Okay, you're not going to get into crazy positions on Mondays because the markets run wild on Mondays. But nonetheless, guys, I think it's best that we take a break here on the weekend and just learn, analyze these charts, come up with your top 10 that you want to scale into, understand why you want to scale into them, go do some fundamental research, and don't forget to join that Discord, guys, so that you can let me know what you're thinking, and of course make some requests for those deep dives, because I'm ready to release a deep dive on Sunday. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. I hope you appreciated this video and you found value. If you did, do the channel a huge favor and slap that like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. And of course, guys, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join me live at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.
you.